This is Pharma Forum web editor Nicole Raleigh, and I am live on site in Chicago for ASCO 2025. It is Saturday, the 31st of May. It's been a long day, but BioNTech's Chief Commercial Officer, Annemarie Hanekamp, is here with me, and we are going to be discussing the 7 abstracts that BioNTech will be presenting. Pleasure to speak with you, Annemarie.
Likewise, thank you for having me.
So those 7 abstracts that I just mentioned include oral presentations, poster presentations, and trial in progress posters on 4 selected pipeline candidates in mesothelioma, lung cancer, prostate cancer, and melanoma. And the data presented highlights continued clinical progress across the company's pipeline of oncology candidates, including bispecific antibodies, ADCs, and mRNA-encoded cancer immunotherapies. So, Annemarie, I was wondering if you could provide an overview of BioNTech's oncology strategy and diverse pipeline of novel oncology candidates that are being studied in 20 plus phase 2 and phase 3 clinical trials, especially the data being presented here at ASCO.
Yes, no, thank you. I'll be delighted to highlight our pipeline. And like you said, we have 20 plus studies in late stage development ongoing, underscoring BioNTech's vast pipeline in the oncology space. So it probably would take too long if I talk about all of them. So let me highlight our priority programs. So the first one I want to highlight is our BNT327, or bispecific PD-L1 VEGF antibody. It's a candidate with pan-tumor potential, which we're currently studying in different late-stage clinical programs. In particular, we have 3 phase 3 plans, of which 2 are underway in small cell and non-small cell lung cancer, and the third one is planned to start later this year in triple negative breast cancer. Now, as part of ASCO here, we are presenting phase 2 data in a different type of cancer, mesothelioma, but it's a very aggressive cancer, and the data we've shown underscores the efficacy and the safety profile of this particular candidate. In addition to having dosed over 1,000 patients in different tumor types. And we are in particular very excited about this candidate because we believe it can become the new backbone, going in places and tumors and PD-L1 expression levels where the current PD-L1s have demonstrated but also have not demonstrated their efficacy. And again, I think the data that we've shown already and the data here at ASCO underscore and strengthen our belief in this particular asset. The other pillar I would want to highlight from our pipeline is, as you mentioned, the mRNA therapeutic. So the mRNA therapeutics, we have 2 categories almost. We have the individualized platform and we have the FixVac, of course, off the shelf. Now, we're studying these in different tumor types as well, but just let me highlight one candidate, which is BNT122, or autogene cevumeran, which with our partner Genentech, we're studying in 3 cancer types: adjuvant, colorectal, PDAC, and muscle-invasive bladder cancer. And for the CRC study, we're expecting a readout actually end of this year, early next year. And together with these 2 highlighted multi-pan tumor platforms, BioNTech is advancing cancer care through combination therapy. So that's ultimately our goal, because we see that we can provide incremental benefit over the current standard of care through these 2 pan-tumor assets. But we actually believe by combining them either together or with ADCs, because we also have a deep ADC pipeline currently, we believe that that's where the transformative cancer care approach and potentially in the curative setting could be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this combinatory approach has been widely discussed at ASCO, even thus far, so early on in the Congress. So it's interesting to hear all the different companies and their approaches there. I also believe that you're expecting some key readouts this year in, and respectively, TNBC, I beg your pardon, SCLC, and colorectal cancer as well. You mentioned one a moment ago, but perhaps you could just suggest towards the others?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the first two are parts. So the triple negative and the small cell data readouts are phase 2 data readouts and are part of our bispecific PD-L1 VEGF antibody program, which is a multi-pronged program where in the first phase we are combining with chemotherapy in non-small cell, small cell, triple negative breast. In a second phase where we're combining with ADCs, and in a third phase with novel combinations. Now, in our journey towards combination therapy and this 3-7 strategy, as you mentioned, the first data readouts are the so-called phase 2 data readouts in these two tumor types. And then the CRC, as I mentioned, is from our mRNA individualized platform, for which we're hoping to have a readout end of this year, early next year.
Thank you. So, speaking of combination trials, are there any more that BioNTech is undertaking that you wanted to mention at all during our conversation today?
I think it's also interesting if you take a little bit of a step back where when the IO era started, which is now 15, 20 years ago, what we did as a community, oncology community, is we developed the drugs sequentially. So we first went into second line, then into first line, then we started combining with the current standard of care, whether it's chemo or TKIs, and later on went into the adjuvant setting. Now, as a community and an industry, we've learned from that development program, and we also know that we can move faster. And that is critically important because cancer patients don't have time to wait. In the US, it's estimated that on an average day, 5,500 people get diagnosed with cancer. 1,600 patients die of cancer in the United States every day. So patients, they don't have time to wait. And being part of this amazing industry and community, and at BioNTech, we are taking those lessons to heart. And therefore, to your point, we already started combination therapies while we're in this first phase of the bispecific antibody and combining it with chemo, so bringing it fast to the market. We already started our combination therapy. So one of the combination studies, we showed early data at AACR earlier this year, where we're combining our bispecific antibody with a TROP2 ADC. Because again, combination therapy, and ultimately that's where we believe that the transformational approach for cancer patient treatment lies.
The transformation much needed. I mean, they're frightening statistics, the numbers you just quoted a moment ago of diagnoses and deaths per day. And yes, this cancer community, certainly at ASCO, you get the vibe of it. The cancer community is very much working hard to come up with solutions. So I also understand that the company is building an AI-infused commercial model and infrastructure in preparation for the first oncology launches. Is that correct?
Yes. I think as an industry, right, we've been trying and succeeding in parts to infuse AI into our commercialization model. Like in R&D, we've been using it at BioNTech. We actually acquired a company called InstaDeep earlier on, which is enabling us, especially currently in the R&D space, the drug development space, with our mRNA therapeutics, to be smarter and faster in how we select our neoantigens, for example. The fact that we have this company within BioNTech and this capability, plus that we're building now from the ground up, because BioNTech is new. We haven't launched anything in the commercial space yet. We do have a lot of experienced leaders in the commercial area that have worked in the oncology space for a long time. And now being able to build a new commercialization footprint from the ground up, infused by AI, where you take a lot of data. In the United States, we have physician level data, we have patient level data, and to be at the right place, with the right message, with the right physician, but also in a way that meets our customers' need, in the way they would want to receive the information that will enable them to make better treatment decisions for their patients. I think we're uniquely positioned, not only because we have the capability in-house, but also because we're building from the ground up. And so we're not inhibited by an existing footprint or an existing model that you have to build around the people we can actually do this from the ground up. So yes, we're very excited to also leverage that strength and capability within BioNTech as we're building towards that first commercial launch.
Beneficial indeed, yeah. So my final question, are you able to share the highlights thus far for you personally at ASCO this year? And I appreciate it is still early on in the Congress.
Yeah, well, my highlights, I would say, almost started even pre-ASCO. So I flew in a couple of days early in Chicago because as part of BioNTech's presence in the United States, we're not that familiar of an entity yet, but we are visiting our customers, we're visiting sites. So I had the opportunity to meet with some key sites and customers here in the Chicago and in the area and really listen to them and what their needs are and how they see a collaboration. And one by one, I was struck by their eagerness and excitement to work with us, to look at our pipeline. And one of the sites, they go into the community. They take the lessons and the needs out of the community to make sure that in our development and in their approach, we address equitable access through innovation. And that is at the core of what we do at BioNTech. So those meetings, and now also today at ASCO, you mentioned it early on, but even today, the meetings I have with our customers, with the experts, with patient advocacy groups, that's where ultimately I and us at BioNTech, we get our energy from, because in the end of the day, what matters is that we get our innovations into patients, and our physicians are key to enabling that we ultimately make strides in cancer innovation. So that is definitely always the highlight of me coming to Chicago every year.
Absolutely. Community, collaboration, and amelioration of cancer care for the future. Thank you very much, Annemarie. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.